You can hide your utilization, all right? Now, what exactly does that mean? So I just got a credit card for $10,000 and I used up $5,000 to invest into an Airbnb, let's say. Now, the biggest thing here is you don't want the bank or the lender, whoever's gave you the credit card, to see that you're utilizing 50% of that, right? So how is it if you don't have the money and you want to start investing into small ventures, right? How is it that you hide it if you don't have those $5,000 yet? Well, number one, I would say make sure you have some money first before you start investing, right? You want to have some capital put away just in case of any emergencies do happen, because who knows, right? Not everything will always go as planned, and I'm an expert at that. Everything goes completely the opposite of the way that I want it to. So I always tell everybody that just make sure you know what exactly it is you're investing into and be familiar with what type of returns you're going to be getting, right? Don't just go in there blindly. So the biggest thing with this is now once that you've used your 50%, right? There's two things that you should always be aware of when you have credit cards. It's called a statement date and a due date. The due date is when you have to make the payment, right? So the 7th of every month is when you have to pay it, but the statement date is going to be on the 12th of every month, meaning that is when it's actually being reported, right? So as long as you pay off the full thing, now on the statement date, as long as it doesn't show, right? As long as it doesn't show the 50%, meaning you could roll that balance over or do what you have to do, then you start hiding this from the other lenders to see you, right? Now, rolling over, what does that mean? Balance transfer, right? I used $5,000 on this credit card of Bank of America, and I transferred it over. I opened up another credit card from Citibank because they offer 0% at 12 months or 18 months. It doesn't matter, right? There's multiple credit cards you can see like that as well that show you exactly. I mean, there's some sites, some platforms that break everything down and give you all the companies with all the promotions that are going on, right? So you want to keep rolling this balance over. Now, there are some fees that are included in there as well, all right? So don't think it's going to be free either. But there are some add-on bonuses, right? So when you when you open up a $10,000 credit card and you spend X amount within X amount of days, right? You spend $3,000 upon opening, and you spend $5,000 within 30 days, then we're going to give you X amount back, right? $500, let's say. That is one of the biggest perks that you can use to your advantage, right? Now that you just used a credit card, you opened up a credit card to start investing. Now you're going to start using that money, right? Now you created that one source of income. Now that your payment is due, and let's say your business hasn't started running, it hasn't started functioning, you get that balance and transfer it over onto the next one, right? So you're going to just keep rolling it over. Like I said, there are a few fees that are associated with it, and it just depends what credit card it is that you're looking for. So my recommendation, the best place to go to would be Doctor of Credit, right? That platform tells you everything you need to know about personal, business, every single credit cards, every checking account, whatever it is you're looking for, traveling, cashback rewards, whatever it is, they have everything, right? So, and all this information changes. So if you're watching this maybe a year from now, all this information I'm probably giving you is probably false, or it's just really outdated, right? So just make sure everything that I'm telling you, you're doing your own research on it, because all of this information does change on the daily. All right, so this isn't something that can keep permanent forever. There are new promotions from every banks as well. Right now, as y'all see, the market, the economy is kind of in a slump. You know, who knows where it's going to go, but that means that lenders are being more desperate to start lending out money. Why necessarily, right? Is for many reasons. Business, right? Let's kind of transition into business here. When it comes to business, lenders are actually dying to give you money, right? Now, if y'all didn't know, about 87% of businesses get denied for funding simply because their business credit is not structured correctly. Now, what does that mean? It means for one, you don't look legit, right? If they look you up, Carlos Barrientos online, I'm not coming up, right? You have to come up first of all. Second thing, do you have a phone number, right? There's plenty of businesses that don't have any phone numbers. And if a bank is calling you and you're asking for a credit card or a loan, whatever the case is, then you have to have a phone number. You have to have a phone number. You have to come up on the map, right? If you look up a certain business, you have to come up on, for one, on Google and on the business map, right? Because at the lender, if you applied for a credit card or you're asking for a loan, $50,000 to $100,000, and you don't have a phone number, you don't have an address, you're not coming up on the map, then, that says a lot about you. You're not a legit business, and that will automatically disqualify you. So first things first, you just want to look legit, right? These are little simple steps that you should always be aware of. Now, there are a lot of people that do put their address as their house, right? Their personal house. That's a big no-no, right? First reason is you're putting your information out in public, right? If you look up your business, now your personal address is going to be coming out, right? So who knows? Now you have stalkers, you're going to have whatever finding you. Number two, if a bank, again, I'm in e-commerce, I need about $100,000 credit line, so I'm asking the bank to get me approved, right? They're not going to give it to me because why, if I'm asking for $100,000, why am I operating out of my house, right? So the number one thing I do, and I recommend everybody to do, it depends exactly on what type of business you're running. Me, for example, everything I do is virtual. I just need my computer, I need an internet, and I'm good, right? So I have what's called the virtual mailing address. Now, there's multiple that you can find. It's literally what you look up, virtual mailing address, and you could purchase one. It can go from $50 all the way up to $200 a month, right? It just depends on your location. And all you really need is a suite, right? And not a P.O. box. Don't try to go the cheap route either. P.O. box will definitely not be considered. It's not taken as serious, right? So you just want to make sure you have a legit spot. So when you're getting the address, right? Let's say I get a building. I have my mailing addresses going to some really high buildings, right? Like high rises, and they're commercial buildings. So every time I try to ask for a loan or I'm applying for a credit card or whatever the case is, that is exactly what comes up. When they search up my address or my name, a big building comes up. That's an automatic approval, right? Because I'm not in a little building. I'm not in a house asking for anything, right? So that's one of the biggest things that you always have to look out for. All right, so phone number, address, and the business name, and just make sure you actually have some online presence, right? That's one of the biggest things that on why people mess up. Now that it does go a lot further, but those are the main reasons, right? I'll give you all a few more. Now, on a phone number, there is a lot of people that have the phone numbers going directly to their cell phone, right? There's been a ton of businesses that I call, and a lot of them are answering at a bar or out with their friends or screaming, right? Now, as a professional, somebody who's asking me for $100,000 and I'm trying to qualify them, and I'm calling the number, and the first thing I hear is a lot of noise in the background or music or screaming. They sound like they're partying. I'm not going to give it to them, right? But it's a lot better than phone numbers that don't even work or that are out of service, right? So just make sure that is set up correctly. Having an online presence, what I mean by that is you want to make sure you have some online social media, right? So I have my car rental business that I had to build some social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Now, that's bare minimum, right? But It checks off on the marks. Now I actually look like I'm legit. I'm posting consistently. Now, when the lenders are going in there to look, that they actually see that I'm putting in the effort and that I have some traction going on, right? I do have a few cars under the car business, so they see that momentum going. So again, it just depends what type of business you're doing. Another thing is the names, right? Be careful what type of name you pick. You never want to associate your personal name with a business for liability issues, right? There's a ton of people that always tie their full name up to their business. And what I mean by that is like Carlos Barrientos Holdings, right? Now, it just depends what exactly you're going to be doing with that business. But a lot of those reasons can really harm you more than help you, right? So just be careful on what name you're choosing. Now, if you're going to be looking to get business funding, right, you're going to be building your business credit and start building up. You're going to start asking for 100, 200, $500,000. You want to be careful on your name as well, right? And I'll give you one example for real estate. I don't want to have my business under Carlos Barrientos Developments, right, or constructions, or anything within that. Why? It's a lot of risk to the lender, right? There's a full list that shows exactly the banks, all their data points, right? And by everything, I mean everything from a credit score to your income to your debt to income ratio. Now, this is on the personal side. If you don't qualify and don't have a decent personal score, then they will sort of disqualify you and they'll make you personal guaranteed. If your personal credit sucks, then you have to, well, you get instantly denied, right?